News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat.
And a splendid morning to you. This is Newsline, live as always from the News First studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. But unfortunately, it's a wet day out there. It's coming down in the buckets. So you need to be careful while you're driving, riding, walking even. And especially riding, because I think the roads get rather slippery. But there are many other slippery things that are happening in our country. And we've got the head of PAFRO, Mr. Rona Hettiarachchi, with us today to see if he can throw some light on how equal or unequal things are here in Sri Lanka. Very good morning to you, Mr.
Good morning, Faraz.
Thank you very much for being here. PAFRO, what's that? People's Action?
People Action for Free and Fair Elections.
Right. And how does that fare in Sri Lanka at the moment?
Of course, I mean, it's really a big crisis. It's a constitutional crisis in one side,
Yeah.
and the social crisis the other side, and also the economic crisis. So
Yeah.
it is really crisis situations in the country last couple of weeks' time. I do not know how far, how soon these people, the politicians, will able to settle this issue. It's really a sad situation in the country.
What do you think, from your standpoint, what do you think has brought about this? Is it political expediency, or is it, or what is it?
No, this is not regarding the experience. I think almost all of these, I mean, more than majority
Yeah.
parliamentarians and even president, prime minister, they have enough experience
Yeah.
in the country as politicians. But this is just, I think, the political culture. They are more concerned about their political power rather than the country.
Right.
I don't know. None of these politicians are serious about the country and country economy and the people of the country.
Yeah.
Because we have seen the last couple of weeks actually
Yeah.
how they behave in the parliament.
Indeed.
Yeah, and why they are struggling. They are struggling just because of the power. So I mean, it's really not about the experience. It's a political culture, behavior, and mainly purely they are working for their benefit,
For
their
their
power.
for their own benefit.
That's what we seen as a citizens of the country.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate. I mean, some of the senior politicians, which we had some respect
Yeah.
in the past, despite the political party,
Yeah.
because of some senior politicians who behave in a good manner in their previous years.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we saw in parliament
Yeah.
and even outside the parliament, knowing the truth, the way they behave, it's really sad. So where we has to go now? All the senior people also behaving like this. They are not serious about the country. They are not serious about the democracy. So I don't know these poor citizens of Sri Lanka, what we can do. But at the same time, I have noticed the citizens also, in at least certain extent,
Yeah.
they are trying to safeguard their rights.
So the people have not gone to sleep. The people are very much aware
Exactly.
and know what they want.
But not the majority. But not the majority. The village level people, the grassroots level people, they know what is happening, but they do their own day-to-day works, but they are not engaging
But is there sufficient knowledge amongst the people in the rural areas that it impacts on them too?
Exactly, but it will impact them, but not immediately. So what is happening at the moment, I think the result we will see, the impact of the present behavior of the parliament and the situation of the parliament,
Yeah.
it will impact maybe after a couple of months' time. It will directly impact for the economy of the country and the citizens' day-to-day life. So it is not immediate effect for them.
Yeah.
So that is why I think the village level people, they are not coming to the street yet. But I have seen even yesterday there are some youth group, and the last couple of days a lot of people, they are crowding in the road and try to protest the both sides. I mean, the ruling side, opposition side, and also the neutral people.
As you know, on Newsline, we encourage our viewers to send us your questions by SMS 0772 300 305, and the messages have started coming in. It says here, News First has quoted George Orwell saying that people who elect crooks are not victims but are accomplices. Is that true?
Yeah, yeah, that's what we see. That's what we observe.
But then, Mr. 𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸, what can the people do? All the political parties seem to be, they churn out the same old rubbish every time, every election. There's hardly any newcomers. So you put 10, and most of them will have something against them or whatever. And so what do? The people are left with to choose someone, the best amongst the worst.
Exactly. I mean, people doesn't have much choices. That's what we see in the electoral system, because in Sri Lankan election system, the party will provide us the list. They are the one who really, party leaders, they are the one who really select the people from their side. So end of the day, the voters can choose from that list. But I think, I'm not saying the entire parliamentarians and the entire politicians are robbed in the country. And
no am I, but a fair number.
Exactly, yeah. And so the upcoming elections, there's no other choice for the voters, of course. The next elections, hopefully we will face the elections, either provincial or a parliament or presidential election within next year's time, within 1 year's period. So people need to aware, people need to watch what is happening at the moment, how they are parliamentarians behaving in the parliament, how they are involved with this current crisis. And they need to judge their politicians, they need to judge their parliamentarians, and they need to take decisions in upcoming elections. So otherwise, they have to build they have to come up with their own candidate. But you know, in Sri Lankan political situations, the political contest, it's very difficult to come to the civil society, or rather without having a political party to contest the elections. But that is the last options. But with the present situations, what they can do, they can observe, they can judge their politicians, and they need to collect the informations about their politicians. You know, not only the present situations, some of the parliamentarians for their entire period, they are not talking inside the parliament. They are good with the people in the ground, but you know, parliament is for the policy making, and it's for the law making, and they are the one who really control the resources. But they are not doing that.
They're not doing that.
But they are good with the people. They just going for weddings, funeral houses. They are facilitate some resources in the ground. So the people need to serious about what is the parliamentarians' role. Whether they just come and enjoy with them in the funeral or a wedding house functions, or they have to deliver something in the parliament. So that is what people need to think at this point.
And also, people have to be aware, I mean, I think people know this, but I'll say it. You know, in 2015, News First, our campaign to choose wisely, and to elect people who will actually serve the people. It seemed to work, because many undesirables were left out. But lo and behold, shock of all shocks, some of those people who the people left out came in through the back door.
Exactly. And of course, I wish to thank the entire 𝐶𝐸𝐸𝐸 and MTB, all the group. Actually, you also engage with us. I think you can remember the March.
That's right, March the 12th declaration.
Movement. Yeah.
So we encourage it. Our campaign was think.
And we were success in certain extent. But unfortunately, as you said, using the national list, some of the members, now they are, some of them are ministers, of course, elected by the president, but that is not the way, and that is, this national list is not just to get the losing people.
I think the national list, don't you think? I'm a reasonable sort of chappy, and I'm thinking to myself that people on the national list should not be accommodated in the cabinet of ministers. Because my view is that in the cabinet of ministers you make far-reaching decisions, and it has to be made with the people in mind the whole time. You know, the Auditor General says least cost methodology, right? So least cost isn't only about least money, it's about the best of everything, service, production, everything, and the least cost of that. And you must be mindful of what, how it impacts on the people. But people who are not elected, who come in on the national list, there's so much of room for them to be, to abuse the system.
Well, I agree to a certain extent, but you know, this national list, purpose of the national list, to bring the expert into the politics, bring the expert into the parliament, bring the expert into the cabinet.
Yes, but
just for the betterment of the country. But the unfortunate situations, because of your judgment, just because of what you have seen so far in the last decades, all those who came into the cabinet using the national list, they didn't deliver anything, and they are, most of them are harming the country. So that is why you are saying that these people should not appointed as cabinet ministers. But the real purpose of national list is bring the expert, those who are not willing to take part of the active politics in the ground, but bring their expertise.
Indeed.
And also underrepresented people, to give some sort of space for them. That is the purpose of the national list.
Indeed.
If they serve the purpose, then I think there is no issue whether they are in the cabinet or a parliament. But unfortunately, most of the very high profile people, the professors, the qualified people who appoint to the under the national list, they are not delivering enough. They also do the politics. So that is unfortunate. They are not supposed to do the politics. They are supposed to deliver something. But
it would be far better if the spirit and the intent of the national list was met, and that the national list was used, as you say, to accommodate professionals who are then given ministries who can then carry out work there and do so professionally.
Exactly.
Devoid of political, and so I envisage in a robust system, in a balanced system, that some of these national list professionals would actually retain their ministries even though the government changes. That the incoming government should also be able to recognize the input, and it would be easy to recognize if indeed they chose professionals to, and they used the whole intent of the national list to serve the people better.
Exactly, 100% agree. I think that is what the purpose of the national list. Whether it is a party A or party B who has appointed them, that no matter.
Indeed.
If they are professional enough, if they deliver something, if they contribute something to society, whatever the party, they should continue. But unfortunately, I think 100% of these national list MPs are selected with the party.
They use it as a political tool.
Exactly, exactly.
It's one more way. It's another, in my mind, sometimes it's quite often it's used as a bribe to win over people and to bring people in who are left out, to bring your friends, your chums, because you simply can't do without your chums. You're running the country, but you need your chum by your side here, another one there. It reminds me
safeguard of the leader of the party.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So it's sometimes it reminds me of those old ages, you know, where you have very famous people, especially ladies, who are dressed in all this fur, and they carry a little poodle with them, because that's part of the thing. They can't possibly do without my little poodle.
Yeah.
Nothing against poodles, please. Don't send me things about that. But now then, what about what's happening in Parliament? Things seem to have settled down. But I'm shocked that we had so much of public property that was destroyed, damaged inside the Parliament. We had chili powder thrown at policemen, you know, who were trying to safeguard democracy, I suppose, right? What will happen to you and me if we go down now onto Union Place and chuck some chili powder at the passing policeman? What do you think will happen to you and me?
Exactly.
Yeah?
I mean, this is really unfortunate in the Parliament. We are sending the people to Parliament to use their brain, not using their arm powers. But unfortunately, that is what we saw in the Parliament. They are not using their brain. I don't know whether they do have a brain to do that. The Parliament, of course, they have to follow the Constitution.
What brain, Mr. 𝐞𝐿⁴? That man dismembered a chair and flung it at the police, at the security cordon, and in the direction of the Speaker.
Yeah.
Dismembered.
Exactly.
And this, unfortunately, this word dismembered is coming into its own because of what happened to 𝐍𝐞𝐞𝐿⁴. That poor man walked into his embassy and never came out.
Yeah.
Right? And these people are doing the same, almost the same. They're dismembering democracy bit by bit. And viewer from Maragama says here, the National List members contribute the balance of quality. If not for them, we will never have a Parliament that will have the educational basics that will demand our respect. Agreed, but it's not being used to serve that purpose.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's now it's the voters of this country. Fortunately, the media has carrying the parliamentary sessions now. So it is the duty of the people now. So if they are really observe the situations about their politicians and their behavior in the Parliament, so they need to careful the next elections whether they select them again.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, as you mentioned earlier, sometime if they have, the people may reject, but the party leader will select them using national list. And also I wanted to, Paras, I'm happy to bring the cost for the Parliament also. So
yes,
using
now wonderful. I'm glad you said that, because yesterday or the day before I read something that you said that Parliament, and the island carried it, cost 25 million rupees per sitting.
Exactly.
But previously I thought it was 4.5 million. But I'm glad you brought the piece of paper with you. I wonder if they can play it now and show us what it is. But the cost is, how much was it again? 25. Well, I'll tell you what. In 2017, the annual cost was 2 billion. Can we have it on the screen, please? The annual cost was 2,443,534,315 rupees. There are 95 sitting days in Parliament, and therefore, if you do the math, the total per sitting is 25,721,413.84 per sitting. And we pay that money for them to come and what? Damage the property.
Exactly.
And to throw chili powder.
Yeah.
And for somebody to claim that it was Coca-Cola mixed with, what was it? Lemonade. Goodness me, what complete rubbish. I mean, why can't we take action against him? Like I'm keep going back to you, Mr. 𝐸𝐴⁴, if the two of us take leave of our senses, go on to Union Place and throw chili powder at a policeman, what do you think will happen to you and me?
immediately we will take into the custody.
Yes.
But not only that, definitely they will hit by us.
Yes, we'll be assaulted.
And all the efforts they will take from the top to the police stations level to take actions against us. It is very simple, very clear what they will do, even you and me or anybody else.
But they've got away with it over there, over there.
Yeah, but the thing is, in Parliament, they are using the parliamentary privilege inside the Parliament. But I think, of course, if they are make any violence, definitely they can take actions against the normal law, which they can apply for the general citizens.
Indeed.
I think someone has to make a complaint from the parliamentary side to take some legal action. I do not know whether they will do it. This is happening from the both sides. So they may sacrifice themselves without taking any legal actions. But as you said, this is the people's property.
Indeed.
So the speaker and the rest of the parliamentarians, they need to safeguard the parliament. They need to safeguard the parliamentarians. And finally, the voters has to take their decisions during the elections period.
Now then, one of our messages, one of our viewers, we would end up worse than Greece. What is happening is totally unacceptable due to sick politicians. When will sanity prevail? I mean, that's the $1 trillion question, isn't it? I don't know if sanity will ever prevail. But the people, they obviously need to think and think hard. And it's not about somebody who on the one side claims that there is a prime minister and that there is no confidence, that the House has no confidence in that prime minister and that government, and yet when he drives away from Parliament, goes and occupies temple trees. To me, that is, there's a disparity in there. But like you said in our conversation earlier, that you have to look at it as a whole.
Whole picture, yeah.
You have to look at the whole picture because they're contesting one aspect of it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think, Mr. 𝐸𝐸, that we don't have a Westminster style of democracy in Sri Lanka. What we practice is a presidential system of democracy. And we must understand that we elect a president, but we don't elect a prime minister.
Yeah.
We elect the president, and who then appoints the prime minister. That's the critical difference, isn't it?
Exactly. As you correctly said, we have a presidential system. So the president is directly elected by the people. But he also, that doesn't say that he can do whatever he wants. He also has to follow the constitutions of the country and also the practice. Now it is debatable whether the president's decisions is correct or wrong, and dissolvement of the parliament is right or wrong.
Yeah.
So I think it is no matter for the people. We have select these people to take the correct decisions. Yeah. We have select the parliamentarian, we have select the president of the country, and we spent our own money for maintain them. So they can't come and say that unfortunate, I can't do that, I can't control this, but that is their duty.
Right.
So that is why we pay for them.
Absolutely.
So that is why we select them. But unfortunately, we have seen the parliamentarians come in and telling the people. So they are not in a position to settle the problem. So
now then, that's very valid point, Mr. 𝐸𝐸. News First has got a message for the people. And permit me, please, to play this short trailer.
මේ තමයි දැනට ලංකාවේ තියෙන සමාජ ආර්ථික දේශපාලන ප්‍රශ්න. අද අපිට තියෙන්නේ පන්ති දෙකට බෙදලා මේ ගැන විවාදයක් කරන එක. මගේ දකුණු අත පැත්තේ ඉන්න කණ්ඩායම මේ ගැන පක්ෂව කතා කරනකොට මගේ වම් අත පැත්තේ ඉන්න කණ්ඩායම මේ ගැන විපක්ෂව කරුණු ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න ඕන. එතකොට මේක අර පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ආණ්ඩු පක්ෂයයි විපක්ෂයයි වගේ කරනවා නම් වඩා ඈ හරි. පටන් ගන්නවා. පටන් ගන්න.
මන්ත්‍රී ගුරුතුමනි. රටෙහි දැනට පවතින මධ්‍යකාලීන ව්‍යාපෘති තුලින් ශ්‍රී ලංකාව ආසියාවේ කේන්ද්‍රස්ථාන කරා රැගෙන යාමට අපි බලාපොරොත්තු
වෙනවා. පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ වගේ විවාද කරන්න කිව්වේ ගහගන්න නෙවෙයි. මේ රට හදන්න.
Think. Never vote them into parliament again. Our future and our children's future depends on it.
We must always think of our country above all else. Otherwise, we will not be able to come out of this rut. We have launched a campaign to encourage you, the citizen, to think. Think. Mr. Heterachi, very essential, isn't it, for the people to think. They need to think deeply, not base their vote on the last election rally, the last speech permitted by law on the last day of campaign. And a fair number of people are swayed by that last day. What happens then? It's much more than a bath packet and a soft drink or a hard drink and maybe a t-shirt and a cap. It's much more, isn't it?
Exactly. I think it's a little bit beyond that also. Sometimes the people will feel that if they know each other, if there is some sort of relationship, if they can get a jobs or some school admissions, something like that, they are direct benefit. But I think when you select the people representative for the parliament, it's more than that. And they need to think that whether my representative can make some difference in the country.
Yes, because I think all along they must talk about what News First campaign is. Country first.
Exactly.
Country first. Well, even I believe even if you're buying something, you need to think country first. And it will filter through. And you need to think. You need to think.
Country first, of course, and also the citizens first, not the politicians.
No, exactly right.
So I think
and when you're thinking, you must not think just for you. You need to think for your children, your grandchildren, for the future. Sri Lanka's future. Everybody, if we all think the same way, we will make a difference.
Exactly.
We don't have to keep hanging on to hope about those 225 and those provincial councils and all that. Forget all that. If we think country first, then that's where the difference will come about. And obviously, News First is absolutely doing our duty by the people by leading this campaign to think and to think country first.
I really appreciate the way you handle as Sirasa News First, educating the people. I think we need to build the public demand.
Yeah.
It's purely supply and demand.
Indeed.
So if the people will demand what kind of person they really want to have in parliament, then the political party has to think.
Indeed.
Because at the moment, they know what kind of demand from the voters. They are supplying some popular guys because the voters also vote for that kind of people. And I think you can remember in the last parliamentary election, even provincial elections, the most violent people get the highest majority of the vote in their district. So then the political party will feel, okay, this is fine, this is how the people vote. If they are popular, whether it's violence or not, whether these the capable people or not, if the voters are voting for them, they will bring that kind of people. So we need to make the media and the civil society, of course, March 12 movement, we all has to work together.
Indeed.
To make a public demand, to educate the voters how they should select their representative, how they come out with some sort of demand from their own parties. Then only we can make some difference. So it is part of your duty, it is part of my duty, and of course finally it's the duty of the people of the country.
It's the collective duty of the people of Sri Lanka to think and to think beyond now, to think country first, for you, for your children and your grandchildren, for the future of this country.
Exactly.
This wonderful country that we have been born in and that we love to bits, no matter what happens. The sun will always shine, the beaches will always be alluring, and our proud history will be there to remind us what is possible. And if you think country first, we will achieve what is possible. Road ahead, Tiarachi. Many thanks indeed for being on
Thank you,
Newsline.
Faraz.
And that's the way it was on Newsline. Do be careful out there. It's wet, and but it's still pretty. Take care. God bless.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.